Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. This is the first podcast for counselors that just don't align with the traditional approaches to business and that want to use their spiritual gifts, talents, and interests to create, you guessed it, a private practice with soul. So, look, leave it to me to provide you with everything you need, including strategies that you can use to increase your income, reduce your workload, and of course, increase inquiries and referrals to your beautiful soul-led private practice. I love it so much. If you haven't done it already, grab your journal, grab your pen, and let's begin. Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast. It's me, Brooklyn. I hope that you're all having a really, really lovely weekend. Now, I know I was going to do a podcast episode for you on Wednesday. However, I did get a little bit waylaid because as you know, my word for this year is all about refining and improving, not making more stuff, just refining what I already have. And so as part of that, I decided to close down my Member Vault account and close down my ClickFunnels account and a few other bibs and bobs. And I'm moving everything over to Thrivecart. And I wanted to do it really quickly because I wanted minimal disruption. So do you know what I realized? There is so much content in both of those memberships, and every single piece had to be bought over individually. Oh my gosh, it must have been hundreds. It took longer than I thought, but I think I got it done super quickly, and I'm proud of that. So if you are in Private Practice 101 or in the inner circle, you already have access to your beautiful, new, simple, easy to use, beautiful portal. So you can jump in there and have a look. And I've nearly finished moving over everything for Marketing with Soul. So that's done. I also, of course, want to say thank you to people who connected with me following the last episode. You know who you are. And it was really lovely. I hadn't expected anybody to reach out. And quite a few people did. And do you know what? It was so interesting because I never really thought that it was that much of a big deal, you know. But I didn't realize, I guess, that other people are, and I should know this, but other people are where I used to be. And they're sort of on the precipice of, should I go and have an assessment myself? You know, so many people resonated with what I was talking about with things like symptoms associated with attention deficit, not only the hyperactive type, but which I don't have, but I do have the inattentive type. But there's also that third type. So even little things like that, you know, people started to think, oh, you know what, that's been on my mind for a while. Maybe I should, you know, go and have an assessment. And it was just really interesting because you forget sometimes when you're in your own little world, you forget that sometimes there are people that, you know, not catching up, but they're right where you used to be, in that place of, you know, is everything all right, or do I need some kind of support? The other thing that I want to say is it really surprised me to hear that people were sharing with me, oh, you've got such a good attitude about it. I never really, I don't know, it never really seemed like a bad thing to have that diagnosis. It just made a whole heap of sense to me, and I was very, very thankful for it. So yeah, it makes a world of sense to me. But anyway, what I want to talk with you about today is manifesting, because we have quite a manifesting superstar in one of our groups, and we have been in each other's circles for, I would have to say maybe 3 or 4 years now. And I love this lady so much because, you know, she takes on board the suggestions and she follows everything to the letter. And guess what? She's manifesting some amazing stuff. I mean, she's manifested since I've known her. It was new psychologist for her practice. I think there was a new location at one point. Somebody else managed to manifest a new home and a partner and all this sort of stuff. And it's I love it so much. And if you would like to hear some of the episodes that I've recorded in the past on manifesting, which give you the absolute how-tos, then all you need to do is scroll down on whatever platform you're listening to the podcast on, because in its original form, this podcast used to be called the Manifest with Change podcast. And so, yeah, you will hear the podcast go through a few little facelifts along the years. But all the golden stuff is right at the start. All the information about manifesting is there. But for those of you who haven't listened to that yet, it's probably a good thing as well, because you know what? I've been doing it for longer now, and I have even more experience and more knowledge, and I've done more training. So what I'm going to do today is give you some more information about manifesting and how you can use it for your business. So I guess the first thing to understand is actually there is a lot of science behind manifesting, and as much as some professions like to think that this is a bit left of center and it's a little bit woo, and we don't want to bring the profession down by talking about manifesting. I'm not saying go and do it with clients. I'm talking about you in private practice for yourself as a tool that you can use to help you call in the things that you're already dreaming about, because I believe whatever is desired by you is destined for you. But a whole bunch of us don't know how to get there because we get stuck in our heads, we get stuck in the action taking. We're in that employee mindset, right? We're in that employee mindset where we have been trained and conditioned and programmed to think that you've got to work hard and you've got to be told what to do and you can't have initiative and da 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 da. And so you got to work really hard. And so with that sort of mindset, it makes it very difficult to believe otherwise. And it also took me time to believe otherwise, and it has for lots of members of our communities. However, the reality is that manifesting simply means you're bringing something into existence. That's all. So, all of you who already have a private practice, you manifested that. Those of you who've gone and, got your diplomas, you manifested that. Those of you who got your first team member, you manifested that. Those of you who got your first premises, you manifested that. Okay? Anything you think of that then becomes real in the world is manifestation. And there are a few things that drive it, but the really important thing that drives success in manifestation, in my experience, is the capacity and the willingness and the diligence around focusing. It is work. Manifesting is work. It's not hard work, but it requires intentional focus and commitment. And even just recently, you would remember when I went to Daylesford recently. Now, keep in mind, I only work like 6 hours a week, but through the process of manifestation, I managed to call in $8,000 while I was on holidays and didn't see any clients. And there were different tools that I used throughout that, as I shared in that episode for you. Now, since we all love the idea of manifesting, it's not enough just to use your oracle cards or your tarot cards or your spiritual practices. No. What's going to make it work, this is the thing that people don't talk about, but what will absolutely make it work for you is you have to carve out time every single day, morning, afternoon, evening. The more time you can give it, the more powerful it's going to become, and the more quickly I'd like to think you can achieve whatever it is you set your sights on. You need to be able to dedicate, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, something every single day throughout the day. And it's that focus that helps, because anything you put into your awareness, you see more of. Right, the science behind that, go and have a look at the reticular activating system. It's a part of the brain that wants to please you. And so it goes out into the world and it retrieves all the information to support what you already believe to be true. So herein lies the other thing, right? you have to believe that it's going to happen. If you have any doubt, then it's not going to happen. In psychology, we would call this a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. Again, scientific term, self-fulfilling prophecy. And external locus of control, internal locus of control, all of those kinds of things play a role here. So you have to believe that whatever you desire is destined for you, and you have to believe that it's on its way to you, and you have to believe that it's already happened. And you have to understand that in that moment of belief, there's such confidence and conviction and ease, and you know it's there. It's just a matter now of waiting for reality to catch up. Okay. And going back even further, we talk about everything being energy, and it is. And you know what? One of the films that really helped me wrap my head around this when I was first learning, now it's an old film. It was an independent film. It is not fantastic in terms of movie quality or anything like that, but the content is gold. It was called What the Bleep Do We Know? It was called What the Bleep Do We Know? And it's the science of manifesting. And it's got John Ashraf, Rhonda Byrne, Dr. Joe Dispenza, a whole lot of people. And you learn about, one of the things that was really powerful for me in there was the double slit experiment. And I'm probably going to explain this wrong. If you watch the film, which is on YouTube and on, I don't know if it's on Netflix, but I think I saw it on YouTube. The double slit experiment demonstrates scientifically that, particles, so everything being energy, you've got atoms and particles and all this sort of stuff, right? Everything's spinning, and there's nothing solid. There's virtually no such thing as solid matter. Under a microscope, everything is made up of, like, it looks like little capsules, and there's like 99.999999 to infinity space inside those capsules, and just a tiny whiny little bit of matter. But what happens is they all congregate, they all come together to make a form, whether it's your microphone or your coffee cup or your mobile phone, your computer, your crystals, whatever. None of it's solid. And anyway, one of the things that the scientists learned was that when they're watching the behavior of an atom, I think it was an atom or a particle, but when they were not watching it, it would behave in a certain way. And then when they did observe it, it would change its behavior. And this was deemed to mean that energy has consciousness, or energy is consciousness. Oh no, it's a big thing, right? But go and watch the movie. And yeah, I'm just going to reference Dr. Joe Dispenza's work again. It's just amazing, and he explains it better than I can. But anyway, so if you understand that everything's energy and consciousness is energy, then you understand that your thoughts are also energy, right? In our brains, we've got electricity. We can measure brain waves. We measure alpha, delta, beta, theta, right? You know that. There's energy there. Everything's energy. So whatever you think has its own frequency too. Okay. And you can see, again, if you want to go and have a look on YouTube, you can, but you can see when somebody's feeling, the way that they're feeling is congruent with what they're thinking or believing in that moment, the frequency that their brain and body are giving off is high, right? It's high vibration. That's what we mean when we say high vibe. It looks like very close together zigzags, so close together, so close together, so close together. When we're feeling in a low state and we don't have much energy and we're just in a frump, we are in low frequency. So these zigzags are barely even zigzags. They're barely even bumps on a very straight, otherwise, line. And that is called a low vibration, low vibe. Okay. in order to manifest, we need to be in coherence. We need to be in congruence with what we're thinking and what we're feeling about this thing that we want. And this is what you need to understand. You have to believe that it's true, and you have to believe that it can happen. So to give you an example from the other week, I was there in the spa reading his book, Joe's book, and I was getting all excited, and then I thought, I'm going to check my Stripe account again. So I reach over and I grab my phone, I check my Stripe account, and there's more money in it, right? I don't even know how it's happening, and it's not my job to know how it's happening. The universe takes care of the how, right? I get to take my foot off the brake. I get to stop doing all the things. I'm just sitting there in the spa. And then I think to myself, wow, this is so much money to have received while I'm away. And then I say, wouldn't it be nice if I could do this again tomorrow? Wouldn't it be nice if I could get another $1,000? Wouldn't it be nice if I could get another $1,500? Now, then what you have to do is you have to believe it's possible. And there I am sitting in the bath in the middle of the week, looking at my Stripe account, and I've already got evidence right there in black and white that it's possible. I can't argue with that. And so to get myself even believing it even more, I have to acknowledge it. So I say it out loud. Well, Brooklyn, you've already done it a few times this week. Of course it's possible for you to do it again. And then I allow myself to tune into how I felt when I saw that money was there. And I felt bright and happy and wow, this really works. And, this is amazing. And I was really aware. I wanted to be very intentional about remembering the feeling in my body. I want to remember how does my body feel when the manifestation works, when this intentional, deliberate co-creation works, and I get the result. How does it feel in my body? Well, my body wasn't tingling or anything like that. My body was full of energy. Like all of a sudden, I wasn't relaxing in the spa anymore. All of a sudden, I wanted to get out of the spa and do a happy dance and run around the backyard, right? I was energized. And so I told myself, mental note, this is how you feel. When manifestation works for you, you feel bright. You're smiling so big, Brooklyn, that your cheeks are sore. You feel energized. You want to run. You want to squeal and you want to get on the phone and ring your mum and tell her that you did it again. And do you know what I mean? And you want to wrap everybody up in this high vibe feeling. So I made mental notes about that feeling, because then the next step was to think about, okay, what am I going to manifest for tomorrow? So I told myself, all right, tomorrow I'm calling in another $1,000 or another $1,500. And I closed my eyes and I allowed myself to remember the feeling of having manifested something. So I allowed myself to feel energized again. I allowed myself to smile so big my cheeks were hurting. I allowed myself to really just imagine running around, squealing, calling my friends, calling my family, letting everyone know what happened, that I did it again. So this is the thing. Even though it hadn't happened, I want to experience the vibration of it happening. And here's why. Because when I do that, I create coherence. That coherence between what I want and what's out there waiting, okay? And the reason that we want to activate coherence is because when we are in that state of, we're in the high vibe, we are sending out, again, going back to like those little squiggly patterns, the up and down V's, the zigzags, we're sending out a vibration, we're sending out, and that vibration has information on it. Don't you agree? Even when we look at other forms of information like the EEG reports and the, even the frequencies for the radio, right? Even the frequencies for the Wi-Fi, all those frequencies, while we cannot see them, they carry information. And it's the same with us. We're like our own little antennas, sending out and receiving back from the universe. And so although we can't see it, by us already embodying the feeling of having it, it tells the universe that the universe needs to match us. The universe needs to become congruent with us. And so the universe then goes about doing whatever it needs to do in the way it needs to do it to bring this into your reality. Now, the thing that happens, the thing that trips people up is they don't allow them the indulgence of believing it's already happened. They can't wrap their head around that. They don't allow themselves, or they might just say, I am going to get $1,000 tomorrow, and repeat that over and over, but not believing it and not feeling it. So they're in a lower vibration. They're going to get back stuff that's in a lower vibration. They're the people who don't manifest. Or they don't manifest the things that they say that they want, is what I should say instead. Where was I going with this? Sorry, I've just lost my train of thought. I know I do this all the time. I get so carried away. Anyway, you need to focus on it, and you need to be intentional with it. You need to believe it. And it's those things that make it a success for you. And this is the other thing too. There's going to be a lag. There's going to be a lag in you doing this work and the thing that you want actually turning up in your world. There is going to be a lapse of time. It doesn't happen. Well, it can, but it's very rarely that it happens immediately. It's going to take time. And so just because it doesn't happen today or tomorrow or next week doesn't mean it's not happening. You have to hold the faith, and you need to continue your manifestation practice of tuning into the feeling of this amazing, I've already received it, I've already got it, this is how I feel in my body, this is how I feel emotionally, this is what I'm thinking to myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is the golden key right there. If there's any underlying doubt, if there's any underlying disbelief, you won't manifest this thing that you say that you want. And so if that's happened to you before, it's not that manifesting doesn't work for you. It's that we just need to, I guess, explore a little bit more deeply about, any beliefs that you might be experiencing that could be impacting on this. So for example, when I first started trying to manifest money because of my, horrible money background, I never believed it was true that money was just going to turn up for me, but it did. And you know what? A few years ago, now I did mention this on the podcast, actually, Manifest Change podcast. So you can go back and listen to it then. You'll hear all the details. But a few years ago, I needed to manifest $20,000, and I actually ended up manifesting $40,000 in about 2 weeks just by random things. And that was the other thing I learned. I always believed, before I learned how to consciously and intentionally manifest, I always believed that I needed to be doing stuff. And I always believed that my success was going to be a result of the effort or the work that I put into it. And so it was very strange and unusual and unsettling for me to start receiving things, in unusual ways. So for example, with that $20,000 and then it became 40, I thought I was going to get that money by opening up more client sessions and doing more work and stuff like that. But actually the money came to me in really unusual ways. So you never know how things are going to happen for you, but they will happen. So just trust it. If you need extra money for your practice and you're thinking, well, maybe I should raise my fees, or maybe I should cut back on some expenses or something like that, you watch. There'll be some random way money finds its way to you. So that's not your job. But your job is to believe it and feel it, and then you'll see it. So I know it's a lot to wrap your head around, especially if you're somebody who thinks the opposite way and you're like, I'll believe it when I see it. You have to believe it first in order to call it in. Okay. And anybody can do this. And do you know what? You're manifesting all the time. You're probably just not doing it consciously or conscientiously. Everything that you've got in your business is a direct manifestation of your past thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. I know it's starting to sound a little bit like CBT now, isn't it? But it really is. If you thought, oh, it's going to be so hard to get clients, I'm never going to get clients, and oh, I don't want to ring the referrers, and I don't want to, oh, I hate doing all of this sort of stuff. I think I'll go and write an email instead, then chances are like that's a very different vibration, isn't it? That's kind of you can imagine the line on the EEG there is probably quite flat and it's only got a few little humps and dips, versus somebody who finds a way that aligns with them to call in new clients. And they're probably going to be feeling really energized by it, really excited by it, can't wait to do it. And they believe, hey, it's so easy for me to call clients in. All I need to do is a Facebook Live. It's so easy for me to call in clients. I've got great word of mouth. My work is my marketing. It's so easy for me to find clients. Clients find me easily. Clients book in with me easily, and believe that. Those are the people that have a fully booked diary. Okay. It's not always about the next Google ad or anything like that. Yes, you can take some aligned action. I think that's always a helpful and healthy thing to do. It's much better than just leaving it in the hands of whatever. You want to have some sense of control over it. So yes, take some aligned action to show the universe I'm serious. So if you're wanting to manifest more clients, some aligned action you could take is, instead of chasing clients, leave that to the universe, but why don't you go and open up some space in your diary? Or if you want more time for your admin, why don't you go and create some diary space for that? Do you know what I mean? Even little things like that can support the universe, because energy doesn't know time and distance and all of that sort of stuff, right? People say, oh, time's a human construct, and it really truly is. The trees don't know about time, right? The animals don't know about time, but we created this concept of time so we could be organized, so we could live our lives. But we're the only things, I think, that use time. So please be mindful that, when you're trying to manifest, although you may say it is December 31, 2023, and I have manifested, you know what? That it's lovely to set that intention, but don't hold on tightly to it and then December 31st comes and nothing's happened and you think it doesn't work. Just remember what we're talking about today. We're the only ones that bother with time, and nothing else and no one else. So don't worry too much about your time frame. I also believe that if you want things to manifest more quickly into your private practice, the more attention you give it, the more quickly you'll come, because you're going to be strengthening that vibration. It's kind of like doing a workout at the gym, right? You're not just going to sit down and maybe think about what you really want, get to the feeling of already having it, and just surrendering and trusting that the universe will provide only once. You can't just do it once. Well, you can, but is that going to be as strong a signal as somebody who does it maybe morning and afternoon? I mean, if you have a client who doesn't show up, that's a great time for you to spend 5 minutes just daydreaming about how awesome your practice is going to be when you've got this new team member, right? For example. So you get what I'm trying to say here. I think what happens, and my experience of this as well, is anytime I go away from the business, I go away from home, Gabe's getting babysat, I'm just totally on my own in the country by myself for like 5 or 6 days. That's when I'm really able to focus on manifesting, because I don't have anybody around me saying, what are you doing? What are you doing that for? That's never going to work, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any of that. I don't have the distractions around me of, oh, Gabe needs to get up and go outside. Oh, I've got to, make mum a cup of tea now, or I've got to feed Gabe, or, oh, somebody's messaging me on Facebook because they can't find their login. I don't have all those distractions, right? And I really believe that because I'm distraction free, it's so much easier for me to manifest, and I can manifest things more quickly because honest to goodness, I can, and I enjoy the process of manifesting. I love it so much. Who doesn't want to feel amazing? Who doesn't want to feel energized? Who doesn't want to feel like they've just received so much stuff? It's an amazing feeling. And so when I'm away, before I even get out of bed in the morning, I can just be stretching in bed, just waking up, and feel so cozy and comfy. And I'm just going to allow myself to just take a minute and just tune into that feeling of, oh my gosh, I know I'm going to wake up to another $1,000 today. I know that it's going to be there, and I already can feel this energy rising up within me, and da 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 da, and I'm smiling and I'm getting happy, and I can feel the energy coming, and it's bubbling up and it's bubbling up and it's bubbling up, and then I just want to get out of bed, and I'm so excited. And I don't check my Stripe account first thing in the morning. I check it at night, and and then I just think to myself, what do I want to do today that's going to bring me joy? Because joy is one of the feelings that I get when I manifest. So I know if I can be in that feeling, then I'm sustaining that vibration I need to be in to call in whatever it is I want for my business. So for me, I get so much joy from going to Empress and Wolf and buying crystal jewelry. I get so much joy from walking around, Mill Market, or sitting down there and having something to eat. I get so much joy from driving. I love to go for long country drives, and so I will drive from Daylesford to Ballarat, or I'll drive from Daylesford to Malden. There's a shop there, a kitchen shop called Much Ado, and I love to just go there. It's always empty, and I could just take my time just pottering and I just feel so good, and I can listen to my music, and I just feel so alive and so good. And I'm not even thinking about what I'm trying to manifest. I'm just in that feeling, and then for the rest of the day, I'm just asking myself, what do I want to do? And I'm like, I want to go to the convent now. Okay, go to the convent. We're going to do that. And I go to the convent and I'm happy. And it's like, well, now I'm at the convent. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to sit down for a minute, and I'm just going to appreciate being here in this space. And I want to look at the stained glass, and I want to think about all the people that have passed through here when it was more active, and I want to explore, and I want to connect. And then I ask myself, what do I want to eat? And I'm thinking, well, I really want a minestrone soup, so I'll go and I'll find one, and then that feels good. And it's just, the whole week is just about satisfying my id. It's just about being totally selfish and doing whatever I want to do. I don't know. And do you know what? Whenever you're doing whatever you want to do, don't you feel good? And so it's that. And then coming home, again, doing whatever I want to do, which is, I'm a water baby, obviously. I love to sit in the spa. So I'm sitting in the spa, and I'm nourishing myself. I'm nourishing my mind. I'm reading all of these books. I'm just feeling so good. And then I think, oh yeah, what am I manifesting again? And I allow myself to just stop breathing, put everything down, put my hands on my heart. And I just allow myself to cultivate that feeling. I can bring it right up. And it only takes a few minutes. It's not like an hour exercise or anything. And then before I go to bed, I'll do it again. And I'll be thinking about gratitude. I'll be thinking about how much I appreciated being able to do all the things I did that day, right? Which feels like you might go, oh, well, she didn't really do anything. She's just kind of driving around and shopping. But for me, I mean, how often do you get to just do whatever you want to do? So for me, it feels really awesome. And so then I think to myself, oh yeah, I better go and check my Stripe account, and check the Stripe account. And guess what? Manifested the money. So I really feel like learning how to create space for yourself, like, it's always so much easier for me to do this when I'm away. When I come back, it's difficult. It's harder for me because, and I don't know what it's like for you, but it can be harder because you're back to real life. You've got messages coming through, you've got questions coming through, you've got other responsibilities, you've got people needing your time and your attention and your support and your care and all those kinds of things. And so it can be really, really difficult. And even if you're trying to meditate, it can be really difficult because, I don't know, like, I need total silence while I'm meditating, and I can be, starting to meditate and get myself ready to think about what I'm manifesting, what I'm working on. And then all of a sudden, Gable starts scratching himself, and I feel very distracted and I can't focus. And then I get up and I go and do something else. Or mum will just say, oh, can I have a cup of tea? Or the phone. Do you know what I mean? There's always something. So if you want it to work, you really need to be committed. And that means making it a priority, putting it in your calendar, in your diary, as this is my space each day where I'm just going to take these 5 or 10 minutes and I'm going to really tune in to that version of me that's got the things they want to have. And, I'm going to allow myself to feel the feeling of having it now, because I know that that's the pathway for me getting it. That's the pathway for me receiving it. And this is how those ladies that I mentioned at the start of the episode manifest things in their private practices. They understand this and they carve out the time, they carve out the space, they trust in the process, they believe that it works, they look at the evidence, and they're successful with it. So I want you to know that if you do want to be manifesting in your private practice, it's absolutely possible for you to do that, but it takes work and patience and diligence and understanding and maybe even a little support. So you know what, you can absolutely do it. As I said, when I was first starting out, the thing that really helped me so much was watching that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? I would recommend maybe starting there. And yeah, if you need any help with manifesting, of course, just tap me on the shoulder in one of our groups, and if I can support you in any way or give you any tips or guidance, I certainly will. But the other thing that I'd like to say too is just start off with something small. Don't go for the $1 million right now, because it can be too much of a leap for your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is going to say, well, that's not possible, Always start incrementally. So just start with something small first, just while you're learning how to do it. Something small, something small. You're going to have a few successes, and maybe you won't have a few successes, and then you will have a few. It's going to be like this, like it is with learning any new skill, right? It's going to be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But you will learn how to become proficient at manifesting in your private practice. And it's not just for private practice. You can do this for anything. Like you heard before, people did it for houses, other people did it for relationships, other people did it for leases on premises and properties. There isn't a limit. But what I want you to try is, just before you start doing, in air quotes, the serious stuff, try starting with the work that isn't so serious first. Like, try and manifest finding spare change. Try and manifest seeing a butterfly today. Try and manifest, I don't know, a contact or a communication from someone you haven't heard of for a little while. Try with those sorts of things first, and build up your confidence with it. And then try going for, I'm going to manifest $10 or $50, and then $100, and then $500, and then $1,000, or I'm going to manifest an inquiry, or 3 new followers, or 1 new booking, whatever it is. But start off really small and then build up. That's probably the fastest way for you to get competent and proficient with manifesting. So I could talk about this all day. I hope it was interesting and helpful. And yes, if there's anything you want to talk about with manifesting, let me know. Just before we finish up, we're having a workshop on, you'll get an email about it in tomorrow. I'll send the email, but I think the workshop is on the 3rd of March, and it's on using AI in private practice and looking at what it is, what you can do with it in your practice, what you shouldn't do with it in your practice, the ethics around it, all of that. So you'll get that. And yeah, if you want to come along, amazing. Also, for those of you who are interested, the Essential Forms for Private Practice has just been updated, and we've got a bunch of new forms in there now. So if you've already purchased it, enjoy. If you would like to purchase it for your private practice, let me know. Don't email me, just send me a message on Instagram at The Private Practice Coach, and I can get you the link for it. Or you can visit the website, which is just brooklynstorm.com. Okay, have a beautiful day. Thanks for listening to another episode. I appreciate you so much. Bye. I hope that you loved this episode as much as I loved putting it together for you. To get more resources to help you in your private practice, head over to Instagram. My handle is at The Private Practice Coach. And also, if you want more inquiries and referrals for your business, let me know. I have a program called Clients on Demand that opens every quarter, and I can absolutely get you some information for that as well. You are doing an amazing job. Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world. Bye.